First story on Reddit by Zelausidalai 836, posted on r/paranormal encounters. I moved around a lot as a kid. We were the kind of family that would have boxes that would always go unopened and undisturbed between moves. My dad was a good guy, but he had issues with authority, so he usually had trouble keeping a stable job for more than a year or so. When the lease was up, we'd move closer to his new job. Anyways, during one of these moves, my dad found a steal next to his job. It was an old 2-bed, 1-bath house with a detached garage. I want to say it was around $300 a month for rent. In 2003, apparently, it was in a rough part of town. The landlord told us, I won't go into the specifics, but I am required to tell us that someone had passed away in the house within the last 5 years. My dad saw a great deal and shrugged it off. We moved in soon after, and things started very quickly. There were noises in the house all the time. It was like we had other people living there. It would generally be noises that you'd expect when other people were around. Things like drawers opening and closing, doors swinging around on their own, water turning on in the bathroom and then back off. Nothing malicious was happening, so we just lived with it. Another weird quirk about the house was that the front door had a keyhole on both sides. So you could not leave the locked house unless you had the keys. You can probably guess where this is going, but not a week or so after we moved in, we lost the keys. Boxes still littered the house, and we were still in unpacking hell. So my dad, obviously stressed from the whole situation, started getting loud about the keys. He accused me of stealing them, he was cursing and being a general pain. Then out of nowhere, we hear the keys hit the floor in the living room right in front of the couch, right onto the floor. He picks them up, tries to rationalize what just happened, says F it and leaves the house for work. Over the next few months, the stupid keys are the center of the activity. My dad would put them in a glass bowl on top of our tube TV every day after work, and somehow they would be moved by the morning. My favorite spot by far was when we found them in a sealed box of pots and pans that we needed to unpack. It had those little handle holes on the side of the box, and it's like someone just shoved them into the hole out of spite. We all got a good laugh out of that one. Right now you're probably like, okay, what's spine-chilling about some noises and some keys moving around? Well, here you go. The worst thing that happened fairly frequently was the stomping. Most nights around 2 to 3 a.m., there would be very heavy footsteps pacing in the hallway outside of our bedrooms. I confirmed with my dad when I was older that yes, it kind of freaked him out too. We had been living in this place for about 8 months at this point, and I was probably around 8 years old. I heard the stomping one night, and I just couldn't take it. I screamed out into the hallway, "Stop stomping around, I need to sleep, god damn it." 15 seconds of silence was abruptly interrupted by what sounded like a bull running full speed to my room. Then my door had 3 very aggressive slamming knocks, one after another. It was so loud my dad woke up and came to check on me. My stomach started to turn, and I suddenly felt like I had to use the toilet. I was frozen in bed when I heard my dad call out to me, "You okay, buddy?" from his bedroom. I mustered up the courage to head out to the hallway. As I got up, I could tell something wasn't right. I was shaking like a leaf, and my bowels were trying to evacuate while I was walking. I ran as fast as I could to the toilet, but it did not help. There was a trail from about halfway between my bedroom and the toilet. And my poor dad, worried about my safety, followed me into the bathroom to figure out what the hell just happened. I explained everything, crying on the toilet, making a mess of myself in the house. I was embarrassed and terrified. After this, my dad told me, "If you ever feel uncomfortable, you can come sleep in my room. Nothing can bug you when I'm around." The final straw came a week later. My dad had been dating a girl for over a year, and she had been staying with us more and more. One of the nights she stayed over, they had a really minor fight right before bed. I think it was about cleaning/chores. Anyways, they both went to bed grumpy about it. Right around that magic 2 to 3 a.m. mark, his girlfriend got yanked out of bed by one of her ankles and got dragged out of the bedroom and down the hallway. By her account, she woke up after she was on the floor and felt someone pulling on her leg, and it took her a while to realize exactly what was happening. She shrieked, and whatever it was let go. She ran back into the bedroom and turned the lights on and explained the whole thing to my dad. He sent me off to an aunt's house and stayed in the house alone for a few months while looking for another place to go. Figured it would be safer without me there. During the packing and moving out of the house, my dad had some friends swing by to keep him company while he packed. Almost everyone who came by to help mentioned that they saw a small white dog walking around right when they entered the house. Yeah, that place was haunted AF. I still think about it from time to time. Wonder if the people who live there now deal with the same stuff, or if it's all calmed down. Asterisk bonus extra story. My dad's GF had brought a yoga ball to the house, and as a rambunctious 8-year-old, I wanted to play with it all the time. She tells me I can play with it, but I have to be careful. So we lightly toss it back and forth down this hallway. And after a minute or two, I toss the ball and it freezes midair before it makes it to her and comes right back to me. She was mortified. I was too young to realize what happened, and she didn't want to freak out her boyfriend's 8-year-old son. Me? So she quickly just said she didn't want to play with it anymore, and we went and did something else. I hope you enjoyed. Second story by you/phrostiboy. A little late here. First, I'm going to say I'm very skeptical of this kind of stuff. But I have had one encounter that I cannot explain. It may not sound spine-tingling reading it, but it creeped me out, and I still think about it all these years later. So I was 15 years old, and my mom and dad and I moved to a new house out in the country. When we moved, my parents had a brand new carpet put in the house before we moved in. Our third night there, it was just my mom and I. My dad was gone for work. And my mom was telling me good night, and as she was walking out my door, she stops and looks at the floor and says, "That's creepy." I get up and I look, and there is a full single small footprint in the carpet facing towards the doorway to my room. One footprint. And it was smaller than my mom's footprint and my footprint. We checked. It creeped my mom and me out because it was a brand new carpet. No one else had been in the house since we moved in except us three. And the footprint was definitely not there the first 2 days we lived there. My mom is Old Testament religious and doesn't believe in that stuff, but even now, 13 years later, when I bring it up, she refuses to talk about. I often wonder where that footprint came from and who it belonged to.
Third story, Gamercolo 65. Well, I've had many experiences over my lifetime, but to make my story short, the time my husband and I moved into our first home, and I encountered demons that to this day scare the hell out of me. I believe it was my guardian angel who showed herself to me, because after that, everything was okay. Going on to the second home we moved into, about 2 months had gone by, and 4 people, including me, were playing cards, and around 1 o'clock am, there was movement to the right of me, and I looked, and right there was the Grim Reaper, plain as day, and I was really scared. The other person sitting across from me saw it too, and we were so scared we couldn't get up. It eventually went away, but we lived there a long time, and spirits were always messing with us, and any guests we had. You get used to it eventually. 5 years ago, my husband and I built a brand new house, and I thought we should finally live in a home that's not haunted. Boy, was I wrong. I started to see some really scary spirits waking me up at night, and one night, I saw what looked like a man in a black hoodie at the end of our bed, and I thought we were being robbed. It turned out to be a shadow person, and it ran into our master bath and disappeared. There were others, but they didn't scare me anymore. But in December 2024, I started to feel a cat jump on my bed and walk around and lay and purr on my feet every night, and I couldn't sleep. Eventually, I was feeling little feet running over me at night and tried to mess with my face. Then something large would lay beside me at night. I was so scared I couldn't sleep at all, and it started taking its toll on me. I finally got help from people that get rid of spirits in your home, and I was shocked what they found: poltergeists, earthbound ghosts with demons attached, reptilians, portals, and more. I did find out the spirits at night that came on my bed were protecting me against all the evil here in my new home. I'm now taking classes on how to communicate with all these spirits so I can tell them to leave and to learn to protect myself. I still get visits from the cat, but not every night. The little feet spirits were fairies, and the large spirit was my guardian angel. But the spiritual world is real, and it changed the way I think for sure. This is the very short version, because there is a lot more stories to tell. If you want to watch similar videos, Like this video and subscribe to my channel.